So in my last video, I talked about 3 things that I miss in Japan since I came back from Japan. If you didn't already watch it, just take a look to my last video. And to kind of keep it fair, I want to talk about the other side of the coin this time. And this is about 3 things I learned to love about Germany, my home country, since I came back from Japan, that I didn't really recognize before I went to Japan. Hey, I'm Victor. You will know me on my social media channels as Sekai Insight. So in this video, let me give you an insight into kind of the cultural contrast I had when I came back from Japan. In this video, I will kind of compare it to my home country, to my home culture, in this case the German culture, because you know, if you go abroad and you come back, usually you have the feeling of, I miss these things about Japan, I miss the food culture in Japan, I miss the izakaya culture of Japan, and so on. But there was one thing that kind of, well, let's say, kind of shocked me, because usually I always felt like I want to go to Japan and want to live in Japan. After I came back from Japan, this feeling didn't change, but I really learned to value 3 things of my own home culture. And yeah, going to Japan kind of gave me a contrast to understand my culture better and also learn to love my own culture more. So I want to share 3 points with you that I learned to love in Germany or with German culture since I came back from Japan. But before we dive into the 3 points that I learned to love with German culture, I really want to encourage you to go to a different culture. Of course, the most I will encourage you to is to go to Japan. But at the end, I really want to encourage you to kind of open, like broaden your minds, go to some different countries, go to some different cultures, learn about their customs, learn how they live. And I can guarantee you that you will really learn more about your own culture and also learn more about yourself. And it's really interesting, let's say, memories you can make. And yeah, I always like to get this kind of an example, but um, I think this example fits really good to the video right now. Like a fish will not know how good it is inside the water if he doesn't really go out inside air. And basically in this case I was the fish that just thought, well, everything is water. But since I got into air, at the end Japan, I kind of recognized, well, water even has some good points, right? So yeah, let's get started. So I have like 2 points that are kind of obvious, but the third point is a bit more, let's say, not mentioned that often. So I also want to keep that video kind of interesting for you. So yeah, let's first go over the first 2 points and then I will share the third interesting point with you too. So basically, one thing I liked about Germany that I really recognized when I came back is kind of like small talk. And it doesn't matter, of course, it depends on the person too, but if you're at the bus station, for example, then sometimes people have a small talk. Or what I also saw in more rural areas too, for example, when you go to some shop, in this case in Germany, then people will just have a talk about something. They will just talk a bit with the cashier and just exchange some opinions, or maybe they're like, ah, how are you? So yeah, my camera just died in the middle of the video. But anyway, I think we talked about small talk, if I'm right. And yeah, you can have a chat with many people. Of course, in Japan, like if there's some elderly people, you can also chat with them. But I think usually people are not that common to chat in like everyday situations, you know? Like, for example, where I experienced it in Japan was when I went to like some izakayas, for example. There you can talk with some people too, sometimes. For example, one time I was there with a friend drinking and we met 2 Japanese guys and they just talked to us and they said, yeah, let's go drink somewhere else too. And we met them, spent some time, and that was also really nice. But like in those everyday situations in Germany, you can feel like the people are more interested in each other, you know? Like, I don't know, in Japan, for example, if you talk randomly to many people, then maybe it can be seen kind of as rude or you interrupt them. Yeah, kind of like this, I think. Now we come to the second point, and I think we Germans can be really, really proud of this. Um, in Germany, among people, maybe you sometimes get judged for it, but it is kind of a virtue in Germany to tell your opinion, to kind of tell people what you think, what your opinion is about something, and so on. And usually, even when you meet people, let's say the first time or the second time or the third time, you can have some really, really nice conversations sometimes. So maybe you talk about politics with some person, even though you met them for the first or second time. Of course, sometimes it can be a bit, let's say, a harsh topic to talk about, or a heavy topic to talk about, but maybe they will say something that will kind of broaden your mind, you know? Because in Germany you can exchange your opinion and your thinking much easier. It's much easier to kind of reflect on your own thinking because people will really comment honestly what they think about your thoughts. And that's a really good thing I think we have in Germany, because maybe sometimes you thought about a topic and then you say something and people will be like, what did you just say? Or you cannot say it like this. And then you maybe rethink about this and say, ah, yeah, maybe I should think more in this kind of way. And because you can talk to many people with different opinions, and they will even share those opinions with you, I think that's a really good thing in Germany. Because by having this kind of conversation, by having this kind of discussion, you can really broaden your mind and also understand different people from the society or different people around you. And in Japan, you can kind of express your opinion too, but you always try to express it more mildly. And also, people will always try to give you a positive reaction, for example. So I don't know, I had many occasions in Japan too when people said something that was kind of, let's say, questionable. And I don't know, as a German person, there will be always at least one person that will look at that person and say, what did you just say? You cannot say this, man. Something like this. Or woman, whatever. And in Japan, people will just be like smiling and like, ah, like this, you know. And I kind of, I don't want to say that one thing is better than the other, but in Germany, I think we can be proud of ourselves that we express our opinion more freely and we can talk about more certain topics like culture and history and politics more often. And I think, like, in general, for like a democracy, you know, for a country in general, I think it's good if people exchange their opinions, if people exchange their thinkings. And now we come to the third point. And like, let's be honest here. I really never thought that I will do a video about 3 points I love about Germany. Like, I don't know, usually um, I have many things that I don't feel comfortable with in Germany. It's just a personal thing. Um, but yeah, I don't know. This time I'm happy to kind of share another side or also share a contrast to Japan. But the third point is about education system in Germany. And there are many things you can say about the German education system, that it doesn't work, that it's not digitalized. But there's one thing that is really, really good, and I think that is also good and justifies the fact that we pay that much taxes. Everyone has access to education. So if you go to a school, you don't need to pay money. Even I had it in school when there was a school trip and there was some family with not enough money for the school trip, then you could make an, let's say, contract um, with the school, and it will be paid for you, for example. Or when you go to university, for example, you have to imagine I'm at the university right now, and for 1 year I pay fees around 700 euros. If you go to a university in Japan, you can pay up to 10,000 euros. That is not just with universities, it is also with libraries, for example. For example, in Germany, you can go into a library and get a book there really easily. Or, for example, you can go to a university library too. Even if you're some 70-year-old person, you can go to the university library. You can use the, I know the Japanese word, but not the English one, like pasokon, like a laptop or something, computer. You can use the computer at the library, you can read the news at the library, you can get some books if you want to read something. And for example, in Japan, I saw it often when you want to go inside the university, you always need to have a university card to enter the library. So if you're not from the university, or if you're not in a university in general, you cannot enter this library. And that's one thing that I really, really like about Germany, because the opportunity to educate yourself and education in general is usually made that everyone can access it. And even not just about like the libraries or the universities. Also another thing, for example, that I saw, for example, if you want to watch a documentary in Japan, the most documentaries that were made by NHK or something, if you want to watch them in Japanese, you cannot watch them. They're behind some kind of paywall, so you need to pay money in order to watch the documentaries. But for example, in Germany, we have really many like TV broadcasting services that make documentaries about everything. They have a documentary about Trump, they have a documentary about Japan, they have a documentary about, I don't know, refugees in Germany or parties in Germany or about Merkel, or really there's a topic about everything. A documentary about everything. So if you just go on YouTube, you can just search for a German documentary, even if you don't have the, let's say, money for a phone, for example, you can still go to the library for free, use the computer, and there you can watch a documentary from the national German broadcasts about nearly every topic. Even if it's like a historical topic, or if it's a political topic, or if it's just a like documentary about nature or something, there's so many things you can just watch for free. But I think in Japan, many things that are kind of broadcasted in TV are kind of either limited to the TV itself, or you cannot really access them. And that is something I also recognized when I went to a university, that there are many people that just cannot go to university because they don't have the money. And I don't know if, even if we look at other countries like America, for example, you have a similar problem there, I think. But yeah, like I said, that we have the opportunity in Germany to really have that kind of information. And even if you're poor, or let's just say it like this, like really harsh, but if you're stupid and poor, you at least can get smart. And I don't know. That is something that I really thought that was kind of sad in Japan, because you can kind of see that like you're kind of determined by the family you're born in, or kind of determined by the environment you are born in. Of course, it also has an effect in Germany, and not everything is perfectly equal, but if you just compare it to other countries, for example, I think the education system, in my opinion, is really good in Germany, because it really tries to reach as many people as possible and tries to give as many people as possible the opportunity to study. Because that's also something I realized when I was in Japan. If I would have born in Japan, I wouldn't be able to study. So the fact that I can sit here right now, and the fact that I was able to go abroad to Japan to study about Japan, to even talk to you in this camera right now, is something I have to really thank Germany for. And yeah, I think that's something that Germans are maybe doing better than Japanese. In general, I like these 3 points about Germany. So yeah, just to have a small conclusion. Of course, Japan feels like a dream. Of course, Japan feels like a perfect country, even if you go there as a tourist. But at the end, I think every country has their pros and cons. I wouldn't say that after I came back from Japan right now, I wouldn't say in general that Japan is better than Germany. But there's one thing that I can say for sure, is that the Japanese customs, or the way how Japan works, kind of fits better to me, myself, than Germany maybe. And that is something that everyone has to decide on their own, which kind of culture or which way of thinking fits better to you. But yeah, like I said, if you don't have the opportunity to go abroad, just watch some videos of myself where I talk about Japan. Maybe you can get some interesting thinking for yourself or get an interesting insight for yourself. And as always, thank you for listening. Have a great day. また今度よろしくね。